Merlin was always very active. He was always out playing ball. We would get, the slabs of wood and use for bats and rocks for bases and that kind of thing. And then once he got into junior high and high school, he was very active in the teams at Hants North. Merlin was on the basketball team and the soccer team, and he played volleyball, and he was the keeper. He was the keeper in soccer, and believe it or not, we were cheerleaders, and we were at the games yelling for him. He could play, but we could holler. Later on in high school, Merlin would go to the elementary schools and teach the elementary kids some of the skills of volleyball and basketball and whatnot. So yeah, he was pretty active as a kid in the community and in the school.
Why would anybody give so much? Obviously, it made him feel good. Other than that, and it wasn't relatives, it wasn't children, it wasn't his nephews. It was just to give to everyone.
I'm not sure, but I think he saw the benefits of being involved in sports, and there were a lot of little kids just running around with nothing to do, and I think he saw the benefits that he got from it, so he wanted to share that with other kids.
It was never about him. There was never any spotlight. There was never any. It was always about the kids, and certainly he was in it for the right reasons. Right from being a tireless worker to just wanting us to reap the rewards, and he just kind of was real happy to stay in the background. And I guess the vision of Merlin that I will always see is him with his rubber boots on and out working, and he'd work his 8-10 hour shift at work, and then right to the field. And he was a tireless worker and a real class act.
And it wasn't just ball. I mean, he was very active. He had a fantastic scout camp and a scout movement. But I don't know, I guess once he gets started, Merlin's like that. Once he gets started, there's no stopping them.
The first time I met Merlin, he was serving as a coach in some of the minor ball teams up in the Hants North area. And I was basically a pretty new umpire at the time. And every time I umpired him, he never raised his voice, never complained. Set a great example for the boys, and as a result, the boys were well behaved, mainly because of Merlin's attitude toward the game. Just a first-class individual. As an umpire, when you knew when you're going to umpire Merlin's team, he may ask you questions, but there wasn't going to be any kind of nonsense going on. First-class coach.
For me, the older I get, the more you appreciate what he did. And growing up in that area, we had a pretty good group of athletes that Merlin just brought together and made us into a team. Everybody was a unique individual, and everybody had different backgrounds and so on. But he kind of brought us together, and Merlin, or Moke, as most of us call him, he just taught us how to conduct ourselves. And I think Merlin kind of tied us together into a group that it only takes a minute or two when we get together just to go back and talk about the old times, and Merlin was the catalyst for sure.
It was provincials. We were representing this area. And the guy that was running it, and we didn't get along too good with some of the guys from the city right then. And he came over and had our schedule, and we didn't play when they thought we was going to play at 9. We started at 11 or something. We played at 11, 1, 3, and 5. And we said, what about it? No, you can't have a break. Merlin said, we're going to play 4 games with a bunch of little kids and no break in between. What's the way the schedule worked out? And he was wearing a ball hat. You know how tall Merlin is. He walked over to him and he lifted up his hat. I said, what are you doing? I was just checking to see if there's anything under that. So they arranged, we got a break in between a game. Then he just quietly walked away.
I was actually one of the very first people to know about this ball field idea. I was working with Merlin, and we were having lunch at McDonald's. He looks at me right serious, and he says, I'm going to tell you something. I have an idea. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I have an idea. So, and then he started, and of course, me being young, I'm like, yeah, right.
He was driven. He decided, once he decided that something needed to be done, he very quietly worked at getting what he thought needed to be done. And he had help. There were other people who were were certainly supportive of him.
Well, if Merlin was that into it, he wasn't the guy that, you had faith in him, Somehow he's going to make this work. And I guess I wouldn't mind, tagging along. We was having trouble trying to find a place to play. The field was tied up all the time. So Merlin decided maybe we should build one of our own. So brought in a dozer and started in the hayfield and started from there.
Some of the best times I can remember are actually building the field. It wasn't just playing on it. We helped build it. And that made us proud of it. I mean, obviously with, my dad was involved, and my mom and my dad were involved, and we spent a lot of time there, helping build the field, cleaning up around the field, and certainly a sense of pride, especially when people from other areas would come and say, this is an unbelievable field. Whose field is it? It's our field. Well, yeah, I know it's your field, but whose field is it? It's our field.
There are people in this life who have a vision, and Merlin was one of them. The idea was to have a first-class quality ball diamond for the use of all members of the community, just not the good men's ball teams, but the women, minor ball. He put his heart and soul into this diamond.
Our community, was a very rural community, and that ball field just gave a lot of people something to be proud of. Gave a lot of people something that others could come see. It opened up doors for people to be able to just be proud of something.
I can remember coming home from the city or whatever, and coming through the gore and say, oh, there's a ball game on tonight, because there was a glow on the Culver Road field from all the lights. But yeah, Merlin spent a lot of time out there and made sure that it was kept up.
Yeah, and you could see it in people's faces when they pulled in. Like I always said, it's an hour for me to get to Halifax, but 3 hours for them to get to their place to my place, right? So once they get there, and it's on a little dirt road, and then it's like, oof, amazing.
Sometimes you go to a ballpark and you get a feeling, and the feeling was always a warm and comfortable feeling. And Merlin always made me feel welcome, and always treated me with respect. That's another word that comes to mind when I talk about Merlin, how he respected people, and even more importantly, how people respected him.
He did this out of just plain goodness, out of a kind heart. And I don't know if he knew what it was going to bring about, but once this was done, like you say, the community just embraced it. He just walks in a room and people take notice. Maybe it's his personality to begin with, but everyone knows what he has done. Everyone has a nephew or a son or somebody that's been affected by this man.
And I really would like, on behalf of the umpiring committee, a crew that went up into Hants North to umpire, to thank Merlin for all he did first of all, for the game of softball in Hants North, and for the way he treated the umpires. And he's certainly deserving of being recognized into the Sports Hall of Fame here in East Hants. Congratulations, Merlin, on a job well done and well earned, sir, my friend.
Merlin, congratulations on Hall of Fame. You're certainly a Hall of Fame guy and certainly deserve to be there, and couldn't be more proud that you're getting your spotlight and a chance at the spotlight, because you never really liked the spotlight, but tonight, buddy, it's all yours. Congratulations.
Yeah, Merlin, you need to know how grateful I and obviously many others like me, how grateful and thankful and also proud to have a man like you in our community, and proud that this is taking place. Thanks.
Merlin is the only boy with 6 sisters. He has 3 sisters, him, and 3 more sisters. And we're all sitting here crying. We're very proud of him. He is one of a kind, and we love him to pieces.
'16 East Hants Sport Hall of Fame inductee, Merlin White.